Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Morning Coffee. I hope you guys have your or your coffee locked and loaded, ready to go, your crypto as well, because this is going to be a very interesting stream. So make sure to stay tuned. If you watch this later, then make sure you use the timestamps to find your favorite topics. But today we are going to talk about why Bitcoin is taking such a dive right now. Why has Bitcoin collapsed and fallen out of the chart pattern? We are going to look at the markets. We are going to look at some of Veve news as well. A little bit from what some people from the Veve team said yesterday. But all of that right after the intro. So hey everyone, it's the Patient Toddler coming at you with another live stream. And in this one, obviously, as always, we are looking at what is going on in the markets. But before we start, please keep in mind that I'm a crypto and NFT investor and not your financial advisor. So please do your own research before you ape full degen into crypto, altcoins, Bitcoin, Veve, and so on. And I want to quickly thank all of you, my Rare Hodlers channel members, Patreons, whatever, that are minted here on my screen for supporting me on this journey, for supporting this channel all the time, month over month. So thank you for that. And I have finally corrected the mint number on Michelle, our latest member. So with that officially, welcome to the fam. And we have, thank you, Allchat Gaming, for that $4.99 donation, bringing the coffee to the stream. I think that deserves a coffee, a big sip from the coffee. So thank you so much for shooting me all these donations. And yeah, guys, also make sure to smash up the like button if you enjoy these streams. And with that, let's go right into what has happened. And maybe this time, before we really go into why, let's just look how it looks. So that is the situation. I will get rid of the lines because we come to that later. But basically, we are talking about this big red candle here. That we had. By the way, I think I should refresh that view because it's a little bit advanced already. There we go. Get these lines out of the way again. So now this is the current actual situation. Bitcoin below 25,000, and we wouldn't expect it because as we have heard before, or as we have heard along the days, we had the CPI data coming in better than expected, although there is this baseline effect where the comparison is always to the previous month, so it depends on the previous month already. But we had that. We had the Hinman documents coming out seeming favorable for XRP, and we have the Fed rate hike pause. So the big question is, why do the markets react so bad? And there are a couple of theories and reasons for that. So this one here is recapping, or was recapping, what the Fed actually said. And this is always the most important thing. When Jerome Powell speaks, we can get a little bit more. And here basically we have him saying, I hope you can read this, making it a little bit bigger. It will be appropriate to cut rates at such time as inflation is coming down really significantly. And again, we are talking about a couple of years out. Paul said, as anyone can see, not a single person on the committee wrote down a rate cut this year, nor do I think it is at all likely to be appropriate. So Powell is basically smashing the hopes from the risk on asset market that printing could go on, or that somehow there could be another printing bull run around the corner. because they definitely said it's not going to be this year. They said that it's probably not going to be next year, he says. Although, and I would put this into another perspective, I think it could be next year, because usually the governments are finding a reason why they need to. There's some catastrophe, some event where you just need more money and just need more stimulus checks. Now you need to infuse the economy, and that's where governments usually start cutting rates, right? Which is also happening in other countries, by the way. Start cutting rates, not in the European Union. I think we are still behind, and then there's also this one here. Odds of a July rate hike are at about 61%. So next FOMC meeting, we could see another rate hike, which would mean that the pause is not going to be until they cut the rates. Maybe they pause, see, and when next CPI is coming in, there is a little bit more than a 50-50 chance that we see another rate hike. And that would put us right back into the rate hiking cycle. And the question is, how much more do they have to go? And depending on that, if that really happens, we could see a little bit more red and a little bit more blood in the markets. So let's go maybe to the markets, because I think this is a cool thing to watch. This is a cool tool to watch. So this is the market of the top 100s here right now in the hourly, but maybe let's look at the daily. So we see we have some big losers here, Aave minus 10% almost, curved out, but also some greens like Uniswap, which has just come out with bigger news. I think Uniswap is, by the way, a pretty good project to look for in this bull run. And then we see that basically depending on where you go in the time frame, we can see big red of the last month. Basically it was an entire downturn, as we see here. Even look at this, Pepecoin minus 50%. So F to all of those who aped into Pepecoin at the time. Now, there's also, I was looking, when I was watching this, I was looking a little bit for Ecomi, and actually maybe we can find it directly, because these bubbles are jumping always around. Maybe we can find Ecomi. Yeah, there we are. So Ecomi is a small bubble, which means it didn't move. Sorry, you cannot see Ecomi. There you are. Here, this is Ecomi, this bubble here. So relatively small, right? And if we look at the last month, actually it hasn't moved at all, which is part of the liquidity problem, right? But you look at all these other movers, they have high volatility, and Ecomi is just, there you go. On the year over year in the top 200, Ecomi is with minus 50%. One of the regular ones, because if you look at the other projects that are out there, you have similar Harmony, Cardena, 1inch, Moonbeam minus 75, obviously Luna, the new Luna, this is the new Luna, this is the FTX token, and so on. So Omi is nothing out of the ordinary. Let's put it that way, right? Omi is nothing out of the ordinary. Actually, yeah. So, and then also there is the market cap development on the day. That is also, if you go to the top 100, you will usually see a Bitcoin mega bubble there, because obviously if they move a couple of percent, everything else in terms of market cap development is just small, super small. ADA is still pretty big, XRP. So overall, what do we see? We have red days, and the last hour isn't better. So so we have some. By the way, Hex is, for example, one coin that gets hammered right away. But I think that website is something good to watch. this is nothing affiliated or so. I just think that it is good to give a little bit of an overview. And as they put the percentages there into comparison in the terms of size, we kind of can get another view on the markets, right? The quote is strange is here, by the way. I didn't say that, but I saw your comment with the GM fam. Good morning, fam. And yeah, so just a little bit of other news here. It's also this coming from Brazil, and it fits right into the regulation phase that we are in right now. A long time ago, I made a video about the Gandhi cycle of assets. I called it that way because it's like first they it's something like that. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. And with crypto, is we are in the cycle of, first it was Bitcoin, right? First Bitcoin got ignored, then it got laughed at, then it got fought. It was the last cycle plus where we are right now when it got fought. Altcoins are a little bit behind, but in similar stages. Got ignored, got laughed at, and I'm not quite sure. We are somewhere between the laughed at and fought stage, because in terms of securities, it's already being fought by the SEC. But in terms of value proposition and use cases, some people are still laughing at altcoins, right? And then the NFT phase is like the NFTs got ignored 2018 around in the previous cycle there. Then in the last in the cycle that we had right now, NFTs got laughed at. Oh, stupid ape pics, JPEG stuff. I can take it just as a screenshot. So we have been blessed to come into the NFT cycle when NFTs were laughed at, right? So and there will be the phase where they will fight the NFTs. There will be this phase, and I think it's more years out, because right now the market makers, the control organs are seeking to regulate the biggest cryptos out there. Even the smaller cryptos are just not on the radar yet. They are just on the focus. So they're just not in focus right now, and NFTs are nowhere near the focus right now. There's a lot of innovation going on with NFTs. I think NFTs are starting to get taken seriously. We saw the first institutions to start thinking about doing stuff with NFTs. But in general, for crypto, we are in the fighting phase. And that's where we see left and right regulatory approaches. So Brazil, for example, here is a country that has embraced crypto heavily in the last years. We see that if we watch Brazilian football, if some of you watch that, Brazilian football always on the side. You see crypto exchanges advertised. You see all sorts of crypto projects and I don't know what everywhere. And now Brazil appoints the central bank to oversee exchanges and the Securities Commission as crypto market regulators. And obviously there was also a government shift. So the years before, the previous president was pretty crypto friendly, if I recall it right. Right now, I don't know actually how it is exactly with the new president or the president Lula, who is already he was already 8 years president several years before, has been accused of money laundering and so on with his party, has been in prison for a couple of years and so on. But he is now president, and we don't know how he will regulate or how he is putting regulation on the market. But where I want to get at is that the central bank is supposed to oversee the exchanges, yeah, and the SEC, basically the Securities Commission there, is responsible for overseeing the crypto market. So also there in Brazil, clear rules are supposed to be made, apparently, And yeah, we will see how this plays out. But I think it's interesting to know about this. Then I was thinking what could be interesting is this here. So this here's a little bit on the Hinman documents, because I wasn't online yesterday for crypto morning coffee. But this one here is a video. You can check this out yourselves. Maybe we'll take a quick look into it. It's about the Hinman emails that have been released 2 days ago. So Stuart Alderoti here put this tweet out. It's been 5 years since Bill Hinman gave his infamous speech, and through the SEC's lawsuit against Ripple and 7 court orders, we can finally share what happened behind the scenes through the now public emails and draft of the speech. So, he also says, we now can all see Hinman ignored multiple warnings that his speech contained made-up analysis with no basis in law, was divorced from the Howey factors, exposed regulatory gaps, and would create not just confusion, but greater confusion in the market. So this is a point of view, obviously, from a regulator's perspective, but I think we need to include or factor in all of the views, right? So on this view, Hinman is basically accused of making not such a good work with the speech. In the speech, he said Ethereum is not a security, right? So a refresher, Hinman, as head of the SEC, Corpfin, gave a speech in 2018 declaring that a token is not a security once it becomes sufficiently decentralized, and he invited factors to consider when making a sufficiently decentralized determination. Although Hinman claimed that the speech was his personal view, he and the SEC touted it as guidance. Then SEC Chair Jay Clayton publicly pointed to it. Despite the SEC repeatedly flip-flopping on the significance of the speech in litigation, it remains on the agency's website. Now let's look at what senior SEC officials directly said to Hinman about his speech as he was drafting it. So here are already until this point, even if you are not looking at any other factors, there are 2 crucial points that already came out with the emails. First of all, it got debunked that it was Hinman's opinion alone, and that Hinman just put out a private opinion because all the others were commenting heavily on the matter for that specific thing. So that was a straight up lie by the SEC then, because the SEC claimed for 2 years straight, or more than 2 years straight, that it was Hinman's private opinion and that no one else in the SEC commented and did anything on it, which is just straight up debunked as a lie. So that for that it's already very good. And then then the mere factor that so many high level SECs were involved in the discussion is very interesting, and the fact that they basically also say that the current set of rules is not appropriate to rule over digital assets. That is also interesting, and that also debunks what Gary Gensler says, because Gensler says that everything is already there with the Howey test and so on to regulate crypto assets or digital assets in itself. So head of trading and markets, by the way, and this is interesting because instead of a private opinion, the head of trading and markets commented here as well, right? So because the list of factors is so extensive and appears to include things that go beyond the typical Howey analysis, we have concerns that this might lead to greater confusion on what is a security. Hinman ignores those concerns. So this is the original comment in the document. So we appreciate your efforts to link these more closely to the factors in the Howey test. However, because the list of factors is extensive and appears to include things that go beyond the typical Howey analysis, e.g. hoarding, we have concerns this might lead to greater confusion on what is a security. Okay, which it did, to be honest. So, by the way, guys, 15 people here, smash up the like button, and we are getting to charts and Veve just in a second. Trading and Markets directly asked Hinman to tie his newly invented factors more closely and explicitly to the Howey analysis. Again, Hinman ignored the suggestion. So we see that here again. And then Office of General Counsel and Trading and Market called this factor legally irrelevant. Has this person or group retained a stake or other interest in the digital assets such that it would be motivated to expand efforts to cause the increase in value in the digital assets? Hinman kept it. So why is this factor relevant and how would it be applied is basically the comment here, and Hinman kept it in his speech. Yeah, and so on. So there's an analysis, but a little bit more in depth. But maybe we'll look at this quickly. Whether a digital asset meets the legal standards of a security. He jumped to asking whether the SEC oversight could be beneficial. Hinman ignored this regulatory gap. So they accuse basically Hinman right now here of ignoring everything and even having this discussion open until now. Everything is Hinman's fault, right? Not the SEC's fault, obviously, because then you would have to ask why they didn't put out clear guidelines for the last 3 years straight, right? Why didn't they just clarify what Hinman said in his speech? Instead, they said, yeah, Hinman ignored everything we said, and now we are sitting in the dilemma. It's not like that. They could have come out at any point and just set clear precedents and clear rules and answer to the ones that wanted to comply, and they didn't. Okay, so on June 4, Hinman wrote that he didn't see a need to regulate ETH as a security and would call Buterin later that week to confirm the understanding. So they agreed, it's not that he wrote this only, they agreed that they would meet with Vitalik Buterin, the creator of Ethereum, basically, to understand it better, which is an operation that we don't see from the SEC anymore. So yeah. And then on June 12th, OGC expressed its reservations about including a statement directly about Ether in the speech because it would make it difficult for the agency to take a different position on ETH in the future. So they already planned to not have that in there. So we can thank Hinman for still including it. So what should happen now? First, remove this speech immediately from the SEC's website. After 3 years, I don't think that will make a difference anymore. But yeah. Then an investigation must be conducted to understand what or who influenced Hinman, why conflicts, or at the very least appearance conflicts, were ignored, and why the SEC touted the speech knowing that it would create greater confusion. So then, Stuart, let me ask you this. Why don't we investigate at the same time which powers and which conflicts of interest are influencing Gary Gensler right now? This could also be a thing. Why did Gary Gensler not go after FTX? Why did the SEC not look into FTX if they are so worried with the regular investor? Why are they coming right now after the survivors of a cruel and brutal bear market? Why are they coming now after Binance, after CZ, after Coinbase, who tried to comply with SEC rules? So if you want to investigate something, then let's be honest. Let's try to investigate that, right? Shouldn't we be doing that instead? And finally, he says Hinman's speech should never again be invoked in any serious discussion about whether a token is or is not a security. Unelected bureaucrats must faithfully apply the law within the constraints of their jurisdiction. They can't as Hinman tried create a new law. I tell you, Stuart, Hinman is a visionary if he included Ether already back in 2018, and by applying a precedence from 1934 to fully regulate digital assets, you are not doing this space any favors. So the US, Hong Kong, and I don't know what one other region, I think, are the only ones that apply rules in that way, are the only ones that judge on precedents in that way. So yeah, maybe you overthink the system instead of overthinking this is just stupid in my opinion, because what we already saw, I don't know if you guys got to hear that, but for example Polygon and other projects were saying, okay guys, we are going out of the US, we're going to just another hub, digital innovation hub. So like Brazil has been doing, like Singapore has been, like Hong Kong wants to become, like other countries, so they go out of the US. So what happens if all of these projects just leave the US, all of these innovative projects leave the US? It's basically as if you were to get rid of Silicon Valley 35 years ago, right? So why would you do that? Why? Anyways, let's look at this disastrous crash a little bit closer, because I'm in the 4-hourly. Let's go into the daily. It's not so disastrous if you zoom a little bit out. It's not so bad if you zoom out, but from a technical standpoint, guys, and let me know what you think about this, because I'm very glad that we left this trend line in, because it shows something there. And that is, look at this. So we had this trend line, right? And I was 2 days ago in the live stream when we had this situation here, I was saying let's leave this trend line in, because this could be a bearish retest up to the line, and it actually did. Bam, hit the head and crashed down. Now the very important point right now to continue bullishly, in my opinion, would be that we hold this line of 25,000. We are actually, it's a little bit too high. This line is the exact 25,000 is somewhere here. So we are sitting right now on 25,000. It failed to crash through 2 times. That's where we have our established and flipped support. That would be good if we hold and bounce off of that. That would make sense, right? But the problem is that we have once this bearish retest to kill this trend line. Basically, this trend line is with that invalidated. We are going to take that out in the next couple of streams, and we have this flag, which is also breaking down right now, which has now broken. And if we don't move and push back like we had here into the flag again, then call this a fake out, then we might see further downside actually. So that's what I see for Bitcoin. Let's refresh a little, 1 second. So that little bit, let me go into the daily, let me zoom out. It could be, I mean, theoretically you could form a larger handle here, something broader like this. But if this crashes through this line, I would consider also the cup and handle pattern invalidated, just because I don't want to draw something like this, right, and call it a cup and handle, even though that technically could be seen as one. But so that is that. At the same time, as always, the DXY rallied right at the time that Bitcoin had this dump. And this is important to note because it supports the inverse correlation to the DXY. Why did the DXY rally? Because Jerome Powell came basically out here with a Fed meeting, the FOMC meeting on the 14th, so yesterday, and said, as we have heard in the beginning of the stream, said that there is not going to be a rate cut in this year, nor will there be in probably foreseeable future in the next year. And that strengthens the dollar, because the expectation of them pivoting and doing rate cuts is for now out of the window. Let me refresh that also. I don't know why TradingView cannot come back after you close the screen, but so let's look at this. So we had this. This is the situation on a broader picture. We had this little pump here, and that is our Bitcoin crash. So you guys can imagine what would happen if we were to rally here, right? But you also can imagine what happens if we dump. And this is what I'm speculating on since a long time, since weeks. You guys have been following. Smash up the like button if you are following this almost every day. So look at this. We have a downtrend, which is by the red arrow. This is our latest recovery from this. All is our recovery from Bitcoin bottom. Now we have a lower high trajectory for now, and what I really want to see is that we continue lower, because if we were to continue lower here and then maybe consolidate, then Bitcoin would pump more and then consolidate, right? So consolidation phases like this would fit exactly in a Bitcoin pattern where we maybe would, something like this would come up, hit our head again, consolidate, and at some point in the later year break this to the upside, right? That's what I'm speculating on. I'm still convinced that it's possible to have a larger handle here. We will see how this plays out. Altcoin market took another dump. As we have seen before in the bubble chart, altcoin market is not done correcting, and it will also continue correcting when Bitcoin is pumping. So altcoins will get hammered when Bitcoin is dropping. When it is pumping, and altcoin season will be on the moment that Bitcoin is stuck at a specific level. Ecomi. Ecomi is, I don't know, man. So Ecomi is just weird because of the low liquidity. So here we are in the 4-hour chart. What can I say? I still believe that it's possible that we lose this 0005 something baseline here. Even maybe 0005 at all. This is 005597. So that we come back down to retest where we have been heading with this mega wick. Depends a little bit on you with the low liquidity though, because there are many people that are buying throughout this time and just stacking up OMI. But overall, yeah, you see this flag that we drew in, it broke. Now we are continuing on. Look at this. This is just another trend, right? This is just a continuation of the trend. The question is, will it fall or will we somehow form a big bottom here? This we will observe this as long as we do not have news for Ecomi. There is not really anything going on, but Ecomi is down bad, but not worse than other altcoins. It just has worse liquidity than other altcoins. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Ecomi, about Veve, guys. So we have Nestor here, who is on the Veve team, and he was coming out saying, steadily progressing towards our goals, just added a stellar team to boost our digital assets capabilities. Momentum is building fast within our teams, feeling positive and confident about what's to come. So before, Veve has bringing out this Veve update, which doesn't continue many concrete updates, but one thing stuck out, and that is they they said they have interoperability and Omi utility updates. And in this update article, we can pull this up here, it says that they are also hiring or that they hired a Ecomi token team. So finally, but let's see what they have to say here. So for interoperability, they said moving from GoChain to Immutable X, we all remember that from, I think it was 21 to 2000, in late 21. On Ethereum 21 was a massive endeavor for the team and the first step towards proving forms of interoperability for Veve NFTs. By the way, the search bar also was a massive endeavor for the team, right? Just joking, but for various reasons, such as the varying needs of stakeholders and changing market dynamics, for example, the changing approach to enforcement of third-party royalties by major marketplaces, it has taken longer than anticipated to find feasible solutions. Providing forms of interoperability for Veve NFTs continues to be our intent, and we will continue to engage with various partners to evaluate emerging technologies to find workable solutions. So that is the update for interoperability, that it's still their intent and that they are working on finding solutions. I like the declaration of intent, but I wouldn't call it really an update because we have speculated at least that they did not discard this, right? Omi utility. As announced previously, we have redesigned our loyalty program to reward all Veve collectors. This redesign creates synergy between previously disjointed programs and will introduce token utility for the Omi token within the Veve digital collectible ecosystem. So the Omi utility program in itself will not happen as it has been advertised before. I really hope that you are not just staking for some MCP point rewards. I still hope that all the points with market fees and with if you stake Omi and you break free and so on, all these burns are still, I really hope it's still all part of this. But I can imagine that in terms of what the SEC is doing right now, it could be that they have to redesign a major part of the Omi utility here. But then again, if you call this an update, we knew all of this, right? So we have to be real with this. We have to realize that this is only a refresher. It's like a retweet of what has been happening already. But then this is, I think, the biggest one as part of our commitment to the above two areas and to bring greater focus and pace in delivering these items. We have onboarded a new blockchain product engineering team whose sole focus is pushing forward the above initiatives. We will continue to release updated information and details as they become available and looking forward sharing them with you. And we are looking forward to see these updates and details because we have been waiting a long time, but it's good to know that there is a blockchain team that has been hired. We don't know how big it is. We would like to know who it is. But overall, that there is a team dedicated to implementing Ecomi into the Veve app, that is a good step forward in my opinion. So what do you guys think about this? While we are going to look if there's anything new coming from Veve right now, we could just click here. But let me know what you think about this. Do you think they are capable of pulling this off, to bring this on? I don't know yet if they can implement all of the features for Ecomi. But until now, they have delivered everything they said they would. Some things very, very late. But yeah. So nothing really new from Veve official here. Another 1-for-1 looks pretty cool. Is a lot of female characters of the Marvel universe here. Invis Woman, only Invis Woman in different suits, I think. Fantastic Four number 47 is that. Okay, I don't know if the chat is broken or you guys are just tired, but we are already 40 minutes in. So I'd say we call it a day because I have to head out to work to the hamster wheel. So one more time, please, guys, do me the favor, smash up the like button. Oh, there we go. Charles Banks says, good day. Checking in from US Arkansas. They are capable. I am loving the growth, slow and steady. Yeah, and we have time until the next bull run, right? So yeah, I think you are right. Slow and steady is better than one-time mega pump and then the project is dead. There are many coins and NFTs out there, whereas no work at all done on them anymore. So yeah, I hope that this is also be seen for Ecomi and Veve. And we will monitor this very closely. We will on this channel bring out more videos, more live streams, more stuff regarding Ecomi and Veve. Will always be part of this channel, big part of this channel. So guys, with that said, smash up the like button one more time, or if you haven't yet, at least subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified. Also tick the little bell. And with that said, wherever you are on the world, have yourselves a great morning.